Hey everyone, this is Mr. Isometric, and in this video we are going to learn about RayCast with the help of visual scripting. So there are a lot of ways in which you can use RayCast inside Unity game engine, but the most common way to use RayCast is for the FPS game or any shooter game. So I thought why not just make an FPS game tutorial. So here it is. By the way, I haven't explained you about my player game object. This player game object has childs which is camera, and this camera has a child which is a gun mesh. So this player has a basic movement with jumping with the help of rigid body, as you can see over here. And then for the looking, I'm using mouse, and at the start we are going to hide the cursor. So after doing that, also I would like to mention is that I am using a different version of Unity. I'm using version 2021, and the reason why I am doing this is because the RayCast gave me errors in older version of Unity. I don't know why, but they just stopped working for me. So I thought let's just use a newer version in which the script machine or I can say the bolt is integrated inside this Unity version. So I would recommend use this version. Let's get started. So for the RayCast, let's right click, and then there are two ways you can use the ray. If I just type in ray and let's create a ray. So as you can see, for creating a ray we need an origin from where my ray is going to be originating and the direction in which the ray is going to be pointing. Also the second method to do is by RayCast. So it is a physics component, and then as you can see over here it has origin and direction as well. So let me just have one of these. So RayCast, origin, direction, hit info and max distance. Mostly I will be using this, but if you want to use this layer mask and query trigger interaction, you can do that as well. So I'll just import this RayCast which has origin, direction, hit info and maximum distance. So these two nodes are pretty much similar in a way. As you can see, this creates an array and this also creates an array, but the difference is that it has a hit info in it. And so in the C# scripting you will directly use this physics RayCast, and you can actually use this by itself. I'll just right click and add a unit. Now I will also add a RayCast, and now there are eight of them similar to in the below. As you can see over here, all these eight of them which has origin and direction are now just replaced with this array. So now if I just take this array, hit info and maximum distance, so these two nodes are pretty much similar. The only difference is that it has the top node, this one has array inbuilt in it and this one doesn't, so it takes array input. So you can just create array and then input that array over here. So now this node actually is combination of these two nodes, so I would rather just use this one single node. So let's just delete this. And now for specifying the origin of our array. So origin should be our camera. So I already made a camera variable over here. Okay, so it is a scene variable and I'm just taking a reference of my camera because I want the origin of camera. So let's just drag and drop to that game object, and then we will type in position, and then we will get the position. Let's just plug that into the origin. So as you can see, if I click on my camera and let's just focus on it, so its origin is over here. So my ray will be originating from this origin, and then it has to have some direction. So the direction will be the forward direction, and you cannot just hard code the direction over here. I mean you can, but it will always be pointing in that direction. So x, y and z values are over here, and then if you just plug z to 1, then no matter where my camera points, my ray will always be pointing in the Z direction. So to point it in a forward direction, obviously we will use a forward node. So now we have to use this transform get forward and directly just plug that into the direction. And maximum distance is how much distance your ray is going to travel. So if I set 10 units or 50 units, so my ray might appear just still over here and it won't even hit the character. So I'll just put up 50 over here. It doesn't matter, you can put any length you want, it is experimental. And if you still want to see where your ray is ending, then I would suggest you to use a debug ray. So just type in debug and then ray. If you type d ray, oh wait a minute, this is glitching, let me just click it over here, debug ray. So always choose this start direction and color, because you get to choose the color, that's why. Let's just have an update method. We will use fixed update as this is a physics component. So let's have a physics component, let's plug that over there, let's plug that over there, and then you just have to plug same position and origin. So at the start goes the origin and at the forward goes the direction. For the color I will make it similar to the magenta, because it is really visible in the viewport. Don't forget to turn your gizmos on over here. If it is off, turn that on. And if I just hit play in my scene game now, we can't actually see the ray, but it is there. Let me just escape, let's click over there. And the reason why we can't see the ray is because our this ray is really small in the direction. So all we have to do is use a multiply. Let's plug that over there and let's make our ray a little bit bigger. Let's type in 10. Okay, so as you can see, by the way, you have to plug same number in each direction or the direction will be wrong. So as you can see in my scene view, I can view my ray clearly. So this is on the 10 units, but our maximum distance is 50. So whatever you plug over here, you have to put over here as well to get accurate results. So if I now just move my character, you can see the ray moves with it. So that's how you can visualize your ray. Let me also show you the game view. As you can see, when I click my mouse, its lock state goes, and I have my character controller, so it can jump and I can move with it, and my ray moves with it as well. So let me just make my scene view bigger. Let's get into the camera view, and as you can see, my character rotates, the ray rotates with it, and it is colliding. So now we are done with creating an array, and that's actually how you create the array inside Unity. So yeah, let's stop it, and then now we will do some things with our character controller. Let us delete this ray. Let's plug that over there, make it a little bit tidy. And now from over here, RayCast, you can use RayCast hit. Let me just plug that over top over here so that it doesn't glitch. And now from here you get all of this information. You can get the collider, and from that collider you can get the tag of that game object which you are hitting, or you can get the transform of that thing. So okay, so which your ray is hitting right now. So what we will do is we will just make an enemy identifier first. So let's just identify our enemy by getting its collider information. So let's get collider, and then what we have to do is by the way, my enemy has an enemy tag, my player doesn't tag, my ground has a ground tag. So my enemy has its tag, so I can get its tag. So get collider, and then we will get its tag. So get tag, wait a minute, it's glitching. So now I can get a tag of the game object, string output, so we need this. So from over here I can now just compare it with the logic. If it is equals to the string literal and the tag will be enemy. So now if my tag is equals to enemy, then what I want to do is I want a debug log message that we hit the enemy. So when this is true, we need debug log. Debug log message, and then we will just print ourselves a message that we hit the enemy. Let's plug the event over there, and we also want a branch. So this branch was called in the older versions of visual scripting. In the newer version it is called as if. Let's plug the boolean input. So what we are doing right now is we are taking the collider information, and then we are asking to get a tag of that game object, and then when it is equals to that tag, we want to say that we hit the enemy. So it will only turn true if we hit the enemy and not the ground, because our ground has an collider as well. So let us go over there, and then whenever Ray hits the enemy, our tag changes. So as you can see, okay, so Unity engine component missing the component tag, and as there are no tags on this walls over there, only ground has a tag, so it is giving us an error. And to stop that error, we actually have to do some null checking. So we need to check if we are colliding with something or not. So to do that, let's just get out of the play mode, and the boolean output over here on the RayCast, it is to check if we are colliding with something or not. So let's just plug an AND over there. Let's move this forward. Let's plug that over there, and we are having a logical AND over here. So when we hit something, and if that hit stuff is enemy, then we want this statement to be turned true. So when this is once this is turned true, we can just print this message. So let's check this if this works. We just bring the code over here. So as you can see, we just did our null check, and when it turns out false and it doesn't get any information, so it is untagged. So untagged is kind of a tag as well. So it is now getting the ground, as you can see over there in the node group. So now let us hit our enemy. So as you can see, when we hit our enemy, we get the message that we hit our enemy. Let's clear up the console, and now if you are not able to see, but I have a crosshair in my game, and it was visible for me. I think I don't know if it is getting in the recording, but yeah. Also now what we should do is we should add health to our enemy, and then once we hit the target, we should reduce the enemy health as well. So to do that, we actually have to have an enemy script on the enemy game object. We should also do one thing, is that we should not just update it every second, but we should have a control on our mouse. So I will just use an input event of the mouse on mouse input. So as you can see over here, there is an event on mouse input. So once my left button is down, I will just plug this event over here, and let us remove this update event from over here. Yep, and now whenever we click on it, this will turn true. Obviously this will turn true, and this event will only be triggered if we have mouse or if we click. So hope that makes sense. And now we have to script something in the enemy side as well, but first I think we should get the transform of the thing we are hitting. So let's get the transform, RayCast it, and let's get transform from over here. And once we get the transform, we need to get the name of the thing we just hit. So get name, component get name, get unity object. So they both are the string values. What I was finding is for the transform, but I think get name will work as well. So let's just get name of that component, and then what we will do is we will compare the we will find that game object. We will find the game object with the name, and then what we want to do is we want to set a custom event trigger. So the reason why we found out the game object name is because what we are going to do is we are going to make a custom trigger. So let's make a trigger, and then this will be custom event trigger custom event. Okay, trigger custom event. Let's plug that over there, and then this will be enemy spotted, and then we want this to send to there. So this custom event acts like a portal, so this event will be portaled out anywhere we get this trigger. So the most important thing over here is this argument number, this variable, which I will just copy, Control C, and then this trigger will be sent to this game object whichever they have this tag. So by the transform we just separated it with from other enemies. So yep, once we do this, we will go in our enemy, and then we will add a new script. So it is flow machine. Let's add a new flow machine for our enemy, and as this is a prefab, I would recommend you to go and apply everything. First apply the variable and then apply the script machine. Also we are going to make a new macro, and this will be enemy script, and then this enemy script we also have to update in our prefabs folder, because for some reason it doesn't do that. As you can see in my prefab, it didn't give it a enemy script. So yeah, just do that. Let's delete these both events, and now we will start scripting for enemy health. So first thing we want to do is we need to create an variable inside enemy. So I'll just bring this window up, and then we will make this as an object variable, so it stays for this object only. This variable will be of health. Let's hit plus. Health will be in the float. Let's get that health value, and as you can see, this is an object variable. So what we have to do is we have to subtract this health. So we will use subtract scalar value, and then we will subtract this by, suppose, say 10, and then our default enemy health will be at 50. So now we have to subtract this and then set it to the new value. So hold down Alt, and then this will become a set value. So we need to do this not every time, but only when we hit our custom trigger. So custom event. So once you take this custom event, just plug that over there and plug this value over here. So now you have to paste the exact same name, enemy spotted, so that event will now be transported, or you can say teleported over here. So whenever the enemy object is hit, its value will be subtracted by 10, and then what we have to do is we need to check if our enemy health gets below the 0. So let's just take enemy health again, and we will run a boolean condition over here, which is less than or equal to. So if it less than or equal to 0, then we want our enemy to die. So we will have a if statement. Let's plug this with the update method, and then in the update method we will just take destroy component. So destroy the game object, and then the game object which we want to destroy is this one. So this is actually self in older versions of Unity Volt, so yeah, keep that in mind. So when this turns true, we want to destroy our this game object. And I think that's it for the script. Let's head back and let's hit play. So I will click 5 times on my enemy, and then it should just get destroyed. 1 2 3 4 and 5, and as you can see, my enemy just got destroyed with the help of RayCast. We did everything with the help of RayCast. Let me just show you how this works with more than one enemy. So I'll just take Ctrl D to duplicate this enemy, and we will just move it on the X over there. Let's Ctrl D to duplicate it. Let's move it over there, and let's hit play again and see if our script works. So I am in the game view now. Let me just make my game view a little bit bigger. Okay, so there are my enemies, and then 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and then 1 2 3 4, okay, 5. So yeah, so our script is working, and yeah, there is much more you can do with this RayCast hit. So just play around with it. You can get and set many values over here. RayCast is really fun to play with. In the previous old versions, you were not able to fetch these values dynamically, but now you can. So yeah, do make sure. I'll just give you a full view of the code. Okay, so I hope you can now see this whole code. So this was the code we used inside the player script. Yeah, and then inside the enemy we made these codes. So I think that's it for this tutorial. I hope you all learned something, and if you still have some doubts regarding RayCast, the help of visual scripting, then do mention that in the comments down below, and like, subscribe and share for supporting this channel. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Yeah, bye bye.